This is One-on-One. We're here in the Senate chamber. We are pleased to be joined by Senator James Whelan, who's been in the state legislature since 2006.
Correct.
Joined the Senate in 2008. Put things in perspective. You know Atlantic City very well. From municipal level, you used to be the mayor there.
I was mayor for 3 terms on council, taught there for a lifetime. Best job I had was a lifeguard when I was younger on the Atlantic City beaches, and still live in Atlantic City.
Jimmy, I often hear you talk about that. Many legislators talk about Atlantic City, but you lived it, you know it, you care about it deeply. It's part of your life. Those are your roots. Tell us, for those of us who visit Atlantic City, not really enough, what do you sense the current situation in Atlantic City to be right now?
I think we are really leveling off in terms of the downslide. There's no question we've seen a downslide. We had 4 casinos closed. I'm hopeful that one of them will make a comeback, Revel, but the other 3 are, Atlantic Club, Trump Plaza. I mean, they're not coming back. So
you've accepted that.
We have to accept it. It's the market. I mean, we have a free market economy, and as much as it's painful to see, the most painful part of this, frankly, is to see people who have really played by the rules. One of the people in my neighborhood opened Atlantic Club back when it was Golden Nugget. Mm-hmm. Has worked there consecutively for 4 different ownerships, untold how many bosses, this, that, and the other, through no fault of his own. Boom, he's out of a job. And you can't say, well, go down to Boardwalk and get another one, because the other properties are closing and the ones that are remaining open aren't in a hiring mode and so on. So it's very painful for a lot of people who are dealing with that situation, and it impacts us across the board, not just guys out of work, but foreclosures. If they're able to hang on to their property, they're not spending. You talk to the restaurant owners, if they're lucky enough to be getting customers in. I was in a restaurant the other night and talking with the owner, and they said, they come in, they have a glass of wine. They don't order a bottle of wine for the couple. They each have a glass. They skip dessert. So just across the board, they're seeing people less frequently. There's that ripple effect in the economy. But I do think we are leveled off. The 8 remaining casinos those casinos are up individually. So that's good news, and hopefully they can hang in there. And then I think the other piece is diversify the economy.
What does that mean?
Well, we're starting to see some things. I guess the biggest news with regard to that is the presence of Stockton having a full campus.
You're talking about Stockton, the academic institution.
Stockton University just became a university. It's a state college, state-affiliated school.
They've taken on some space there.
They bought Showboat.
Sure.
So you have an empty casino hotel that will soon be re-energized, repurposed. It's a new word to me, Steve, but that's what we're hearing now.
Repurposed.
Got to repurpose the building, and it's not going to be a casino hotel anymore. It will be an educational institution and a full campus. We have a presence now. Stockton has a presence in town. Well, you can take a few, extra courses and have seminars and things like that. This is something. A greater presence. Students are going to live there. There'll be a full faculty assignment. You could go there, and if you're, let's say, a hotel management major, which Stockton offers, you can take all your courses right in Atlantic City. How bad is that? Go to school on the beach and the boardwalk. Not too bad if you're a college kid.
The market's changed. What you're saying, Senator, is that the market is changing dramatically. The needs are changing dramatically. There has to be a response to the market changes, because the old paradigm doesn't work. But also, I'm curious about this. The state, from your point of view, once gambling was legalized in Atlantic City, under a very different model, very different market circumstances, there wasn't a lot of competition. How do you see the state's role today? And do you see the state as having the basic responsibility of, quote unquote, saving Atlantic City? Is it the state's role?
The state has part of the role to play. Atlantic City has to save itself. And
when you say Atlantic City, do you mean the casinos? Do you mean the municipal government?
I mean the municipal government, all of us. The municipal government, state government,
But Senator, respectfully, I'm sorry for interrupting. This is the part that gets confusing to people. When they see some folks come in, when the governor announced this recently, we're taping right before the governor's budget address on the 24th of February to put things in perspective. When folks are announced that they're going to come in, they're going to restructure the Atlantic City, the government, some outside folks. It looks like to some that the municipal government may not exist the way it used to. Meaning, has it been taken over in your point of view?
No, I don't think it has. And if you look at, you mentioned the budget.
Right.
Mayor Guardian just presented a budget.
Don Guardian, the mayor of Atlantic City.
$30 million less than last year's budget.
They're cutting.
The school board is talking about cutting $13 million out of their budget. So collectively, we get the mayor, the school board, the city council. City council took a major step, turning in their cars. Big criticism. Why do you need? We're a small town. What do you need cars for? So on and so forth. So collectively, we get it. But let's back up for 1 second,
sure,
because I think there's a woe is me, and the sky is falling, and so on. I've used this line many times. We're like Dracula. You can't kill us. We're going to come back.
AC is like Dracula.
We're going to find a way to come back and get out of the coffin and move forward. But right now, the reality is, it's not that Atlantic City failed. We're a victim of our own success. The reason Philadelphia, the reason Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, Connecticut, New York, the reason they all got in the game is because they looked at Atlantic City. And Ed Rendell was the governor of Pennsylvania, and he happens to be a friend of mine. He would tell me, those are Pennsylvanians crossing the Delaware River, going down the shore.
Did they want what
gambling.
You had?
We want them to stay in Pennsylvania. We want them spending their disposable income here in Pennsylvania, whether it's for gambling, the entertainment, the shows, so on and so forth. So we really became a victim of our own success. Now we have to transform ourselves yet again, looking at the educational piece. Our hospital, eds and meds have been a huge generator.
What does that mean?
Educational institutions, medical institutions.
Right.
It's happening in cities all over the country. It's happening in cities all over the state, where the hospitals, as they expand, the colleges, as they expand, it creates energy for towns. It creates economic activity for towns. And that's part of the model that we see moving forward in Atlantic City, along with diversifying frankly, the tourist product that we have, where if it's just gambling, if all you can do in Atlantic City, if you think of Atlantic City, well, I just go there to gamble, and I can do that a lot closer to home, whether I'm in Baltimore or Philly or wherever, why am I going to go?
How's it going to change? How should it change?
Well, it has to change with events. We had great success this summer with a couple of beach concerts. We've done them in the past. You can't do that in Baltimore. You can't do that in Philly. You can't do that in Newark. You can't do that. That's unique to Atlantic City. Major conventions. We did build a convention center back in the 90s. We refurbished Boardwalk Hall, which is the event center. The convention center is off the boardwalk. So events, dining, retail, entertainment, conventions, those are all elements that you say, oh, I can do all this stuff in Atlantic City, plus, I can gamble. So we have to make that transition. We are making that transition. We also have to make the cuts that are being made, because the rateable base just isn't
right
there. And transform ourselves yet again. But cities have to do this all the time anyway, Steve.
You don't think Atlantic City is different than Newark and Camden and Trenton and Patterson? You don't think there's something unique because of the legalized gambling part?
Well, there's something unique. Every city has its own uniqueness. But for those of us who live there, I taught school there. So
right.
You go to school in Atlantic City, you want the same thing that the parents want for their kids in Camden or Newark or Lawnside or, Linwood, any other community. They want to get the best education they can. They want their kids to come out of high school and be ready to either go on to college or go into a job situation. Those challenges remain the same regardless of the community that you're in. And I think, we need to meet those challenges. If we don't, then people move out. But, our population has remained relatively stable. Our school population has remained stable. I think that cities are always works in progress. When I was mayor, I remember one meeting I was at, and we were tearing up one street or another, and someone said, when are you going to be done?
When are you going to be done with that street?
Not the street, but you tear up this one, I say you're never done, especially a tourist town, because you need new product. If you do the same thing over and over and over
right.
again, eventually people get tired of it. In Atlantic City, you go back to the old days, we had the diving horse was the signature act on Steel Pier for 30 years.
Had to change it up.
We never changed it up. That's why we went into the decline then. We've got to change it up now.
Well, on that note, Jim Whelan, who was the mayor was a teacher, was a lifeguard, an assemblyman, now a senator representing that community. We wish you and everyone down Atlantic City all the best, because Atlantic City, while it's a community, it represents everyone in New Jersey. Thank you, Senator. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. And 13 for WNET. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Barnabas Health, the New Jersey Education Association, TD Bank, NJ Best, Fedway Associates, Community Education Centers, the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State, and by Employers Association of New Jersey.